So recently I've been going through the Lightning Hopkins version of Baby Please Don't Go with one of my students. And there's so many cool things about Lightning Hopkins that makes him one of the best players of all time. And one of the things that makes him great is his use of riffs. The way that he plays riffs in an exciting way by moving his hand up the neck, and he gives so much more energy than other players maybe playing the exact same song. Now during the turnaround of Baby Please Don't Go, Lightning Hopkins plays this. I'll back it up a little bit just for context. Let me slow down that trick real quick so we can see it and then talk about it. So instead of a typical turnaround like, he plays a riff, and that's one of the things that makes him cool. Then he slides up, and that's the turnaround that he uses. What's happening there? He's basically connecting the minor pentatonic box, what people consider box 1, all the way up with what people consider box 5. And the way he's doing that is he's using open strings to connect these two boxes. If you were to just go up the single string playing the scale like this, it's cool, but you have to play a lot of notes on the same string, which limits the amount of speed that you can do, and also it limits the amount of that dirty kind of open string kind of dirty vibe that sounds so cool. So instead, what he does is he takes this box, so he's going from here, and then instead of playing the next note here on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, he plays it on the 12th fret of the 3rd string. And that's the same note, listen. Versus. So when you do that, you can connect all the way up to here, not missing a single note from minor pentatonic or blues scale like this. That's cool and all, right? But like, what can you do with it? Explore around with these notes in this box 5 position. But when you get down to this note, or you're about to play this note here, instead play the open string and then shift all the way down to box 1 position. So slowly it's like this. I'll play the monotonic bass to keep rhythm. The way that I always recommend for people to practice riffs is by just putting it into a call and response. Otherwise, you just sit there and you kind of end up playing like scales, and it sounds like scales. We don't want it to sound like scales. We want it to sound more like kind of a musical phrase or like a riff. So check it out. So let's take a call and response. So since we're using the song Baby Please Don't Go, let's just use the response phrase that he uses in Baby Please Don't Go. E, G, A, E, 2, 3, 4, 1. E, G, A, E, 2, 3, 4, 1. E, G, A, E. Now on this spot, this is where we're going to put a riff. E, G, A, E. Those are just some examples of playing around with this position. And another really great thing about it is that you can include, since E has these two nice open strings that sound great pretty much always when you're playing over an E chord, that means that when you're playing here, I'll teach you some quick riffs that you can try to memorize, and then I want you to practice this doing a call and response. And if you want an extra challenge, if you're an FGA member, post your performance in the community. Try to write some riffs that might be original or just copy mine, and it'll give you some motivation or reason to try to master these riffs or try to make them sound as good as possible. You might get just a little bit of extra energy just to kind of try to make it a little bit better, right? Let's go over a couple riffs. Now, I'm always doing monotonic bass. If you can't do monotonic bass yet, that's okay. You might want to check out my fingerstyle course, your fingerstyle guide. That course will guide you through the steps on how to activate your right hand, all the different fingers, and also thumb and finger independence. But for now, just try the riff. If you can do monotonic bass, great. Let's try this one. Slowly, what we're doing here, sliding up to this 12th fret of the B string, looking at this little box. But this is the blues note in between there. So when you slide up, it kind of automatically includes that blues note. And then to include the blues note even more, I'm doing a little pull off there. Kind of like, this is like a little ghost note. So we have this. Let's try a variation on that riff. Variation here is instead of going down, we're going kind of back up, landing on this spot of that minor pentatonic. That's a cool way you can just kind of mix those two riffs back and forth, and you'll get a lot of practice going from here to here. Remember, the whole trick here is including the open strings to give your hand a chance to get back down into position. So that's the thing that you should practice. So once you get to there, open strings, and then while that open string is playing, shift your hand position down to here. And then you can play your minor pentatonic riffs that you already know down in this position.